22nd April 2025 witnessed terror striking Pahalgam, where 26 innocent, unarmed people were massacred. Pakistan-backed terrorists asked people their religion and killed them in a clear attempt to incite communal violence and divide India from within. But the unfortunate incident brought the nation together as people stood by the victims. As anger boiled against the terrorists, India united. The government acted swiftly, decisively, and with strategic clarity.
I say to the whole world, India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth. India's spirit will never be broken by terrorism. Terrorism will not go unpunished. Every effort will be made to ensure that justice is done.
Using calculated force, India launched Operation Sindoor on May 7 to destroy the terror bases behind the attack. Operation Sindoor was conceived to punish the perpetrators and planners of terror and aimed to dismantle terror infrastructure across the border. The operation was undertaken under self-imposed restraint to avoid collateral damage, and only terrorist targets were neutralized, avoiding civilian harm. The Indian Armed Forces launched coordinated and precise missile strikes on 9 terrorist sites, 4 located in Pakistan, including Bahawalpur and Muridke, and 5 in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, such as Muzaffarabad and Kotli. These locations were key command centers of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, responsible for major attacks like Pulwama in 2019 and Mumbai in 2008. While India's plan of action remained focused, measured and non-escalatory, targeting only terrorists, Pakistan retaliated with drone and missile attacks on Indian cities and military bases on May 7, 8 and 9. It used drones and shelling to target religious sites. The Shambhu temple in Jammu, the Gurudwara in Poonch and Christian convents were attacked. These were not random strikes. They were part of a plan to fracture India's unity. India's air defense systems were on point from the start, intercepting all incoming threats, resulting in minimal loss of life or property. On the other hand, Pakistan's HQ-9 air defense system was put on the stretcher by the Indian Armed Forces. Kamikaze drones were deployed by India to neutralize Pakistan's air defense capabilities, including disabling Lahore's air defense system and destroying radar facilities near Gujranwala. The night of May 9-10 marked a historic first. India became the first nation to successfully strike the air bases of a nuclear-armed country. Demonstrating unmatched military prowess, India targeted 11 military installations, including Noor Khan, Rafiki, Murid, Sukur, Sialkot, Pasrur, Chunian, Sargodha, Skardu, Bolari, and Jacobabad in just 3 hours. Anybody wanting proof of that should see satellite images before and after the strike on Shahbaz Air Base in Jacobabad to understand the scale of destruction. Major ammunition depots and air bases such as Sargodha and Bolari, where F-16 and JF-17 fighter jets were stationed, were targeted. The result? Nearly 20% of Pakistan's Air Force infrastructure was destroyed. Over 50 individuals, including squadron leader Usman Yusuf and 4 airmen, were killed at Bolari Air Base, and several Pakistani fighter jets were destroyed. The severe damage inflicted by the Indian Armed Forces forced Pakistan's Director General of Military Operations to reach out to the Indian DGMO. It was agreed that both sides would cease all military activity on land, in the air and at sea from 1700 hours IST on May 10, 2025. But it's difficult to trust Pakistan. Even after the agreement, waves of UAVs and small drones intruded into Indian civilian and military airspace. These were swiftly intercepted, and the Indian armed forces gave a strong response, destroying terrorist bunkers and Pakistani positions targeting civilians. India didn't just strike militarily. It ensured that Pakistan paid diplomatically and economically. Through strategic policy making, psychological operations, and global outreach, India isolated Pakistan internationally. One of the most decisive measures under Operation Sindoor was the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty. The Treaty of 1960 will remain in abeyance until Pakistan irrevocably ceases support for cross-border terrorism. Since the Indus River system is the lifeline of Pakistan's agriculture, this move impacts nearly one-fourth of its GDP. India sent out a clear message to Pakistan. Blood and water cannot flow together.
आवाज स्वतंत्र भारत
टेरर
समाचार
और
आवाज
टॉप
स्वतंत्र भारत हिंदी समाचार
एक
आवाज
साथ
स्वतंत्र भारत
नहीं हो सकते।
हिंदी समाचार
टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।
The closing of the Atari-Wagah border, suspension of bilateral trade, revoking of all Pakistani visas in India, a total ban on Pakistani artists, and the reduction of High Commission strength from 55 to 30 were other steps taken to underline India's zero-tolerance policy on terrorism.
इक्कीस मई आतंकवाद विरोधी दिवस। अब ये महज एक तारीख नहीं, ये नए भारत की पहचान है जो अब आतंक के खिलाफ चुप नहीं बैठता बल्कि घर में घुसकर मारता है। 2004 से 2014 कांग्रेस की यूपीए सरकार का वो दशक जब देश की धरती कई बार अपनों के खून से रक्त रंजित हो उठी। जम्मू कश्मीर में 7,217 आतंकी घटनाएं हुई, 2,829 नागरिक और सुरक्षा कर्मियों का बलिदान हुआ और हर हमले के बाद कांग्रेस की चुप्पी ने आतंकियों के हौसलों को बढ़ने दिया। साल 2014 जब देश ने एक ऐसा नेता चुना जिसने कहा कि आतंकियों को भारत अब घर में घुसकर मारेगा, आतंक के खिलाफ जीरो टॉलरेंस की नीति से आतंक की जड़ों पर प्रहार शुरू हो गया, जिसका प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण है ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भारतीय सेना की वो कार्रवाई जिसके बाद ना तो आतंकी भाग सके न छिप सके और पाकिस्तान को उसकी हरकत का करारा जवाब मिल गया। 60 सालों में जो कांग्रेस नहीं कर पाई वो मोदी सरकार ने करके दिखाया। आतंकी घटनाओं में 68% की गिरावट और शहीदों की संख्या में 67% की कमी। ये आंकड़े नहीं, उस बदलते भारत की कहानी है जो दुश्मन की गोली का जवाब धमाके से देता है। मोदी सरकार में सेना ने सिर्फ हथियारों से नहीं बल्कि डिप्लोमेसी, इंटेलिजेंस और कानून से भी आतंक की कमर तोड़ दी। एनआईए एक्ट में संशोधन से विदेशों में जांच का अधिकार मिला। यूएपीए एक्ट के तहत आतंकियों की संपत्ति जब्त करने और घोषित करने का अधिकार मिला। 25 सूत्रीय इंटीग्रेटेड योजना के तहत जिहाद, उग्रवाद से लेकर आतंकी फंडिंग पर नकेल कसी जा रही है। आज भारत के रक्षा क्षेत्र की ताकत को न सिर्फ पूरी दुनिया देख रही है बल्कि ये मान भी रही है कि नया भारत आतंकवाद को चुपचाप बैठकर नहीं देखता बल्कि उनके और उनकी सरपरस्त सरकारों के ठिकाने तबाह कर देता है।